I have Senior Trustee Thom Koch, who's going to represent Mayor Byrne, who is unable to be with us today, but is doing much, much better. So, Thom, I'll turn it over to you.
Yeah, I'm going to use the same thing you did about move on to the next slide. As a teacher, I'm used to having my own clicker in my hand, and yeah. Well, it's death by PowerPoint can be
Absolutely.
Yeah. No, first of all, I'd like to thank the Chamber for coming here, and we're happy to host this event here in town. I'd also we've got most of our senior staff here. As all the elected officials in the room can tell you, it's really easy to sit on the board and come up with ideas. And then when you come up with these great ideas, somebody actually has to do that. And in Vernon Hills, we have a senior staff and just people that work for us at all levels who are just outstanding. I also totally agree with the fact that it's about all of our villages. I graduated from Mundelein High School sometime in the middle of the last century, and Scott and I've known each other since about that same amount of time, and I've either taught or coached at Mundelein, Libertyville, and Vernon Hills, and taught at Hawthorne for the last 35 years. So it's part of a community. My two grandsons graduated from Mundelein, and my second granddaughter will be the last of our family to graduate from Libertyville in just a couple of weeks. So it is about a total community, and it's great when it works like that. And again, the mayor sends his regrets. He is doing very, very well. And at last word we had, and having talked to him, he's doing outstanding in terms of recovery, and hopefully he'll be back very, very soon. As I said, I'm Thom Koch. I've been on the board, was elected to the board when Roger was elected mayor, so we've been together that whole time. And like everybody else, we're happy to be getting back to normal in town. Our fiscal year began on May 1st with a budget of over $45 million, which includes a lot of projects that we had deferred because of the pandemic. We're going back and starting to pick those back up. One of our biggest projects is the road project that has already been talked about, and that's because, again, in intergovernmental cooperation, it's been outstanding to be able to work and bid our projects with the three communities, Mundelein and Libertyville helping us bid those, so it's been able to save all of us money and get better prices on everything. This year's effort is a focus on the west side of Greg's Landing here and Greg's Parkway. So if you're not today, but in the future when you're coming here, you might run into a little bit of some congestion. It's about a 3.5-mile project that we're going to be hopefully done with by July. We're also excited about the new Lake County Reservoir that's right here just off the golf course. Again, intergovernmental cooperation. We went through a number of sites and a lot of negotiating to finally get a site that was both perfect for what Lake County wanted to do with the water and perfect for our village in terms of being in a place that it was very, very helpful. On a broader level, one of the things we're really working on now in Vernon Hills is our efforts to ensure diversity and equity and inclusion and justice in both our staffing and in our support for the people in our community. Next slide, please. One of the things we're working now is on a focus on sustainability. We are working to go green, both as a municipality and a wider community. We joined the Metropolitan Mayor's Caucus of the Greenest Region Compact to reduce our collective carbon footprint. We've given support to the initial phase of the Vernon Township's Energy Resilience Commission. This group includes municipalities, schools, park districts, all working to be a little greener. One of our strongest voices has been the grassroots Go Green Vernon Hills Lincolnshire volunteer organization, and we thank our friend Seema for continuing to raise our awareness and the opportunities for us. We added food scrapping and options like that available through our contract with Waste Management. We continue to support Our partners at the Solid Waste Agency of Lake County, SWALCO, we serve as a collection point for a variety of items, including gym shoes, textiles, even medical sharps and items like that. So, and we are extremely proud of the fact that our village has earned a Tree City designation for the last 30 consecutive years. As you drive along Butterfield Road, you can see that the trees that were put in when we built this development here at Greg's Landing have now matured, and we're continuing to do that all over the community. Next slide, please. Our special events are returning. Our Public Works Department has just hosted an Arbor Day Tree City celebration. We have Memorial Day coming up, and the American Legion Post 1247 will be honoring our heroes. One of their ceremonies will be on Memorial Day at 11 a.m. at the Arbor Theater, which is our Veterans Memorial on South Fairway Drive down there. We are also hosting concerts there during the summer. We're thrilled that we're finally going back to a full 4th of July program. That's been one of the things that was kind of missing. And we're also going back to our summer celebration, only we're renaming it this year. We're taking a page out of everybody else's book, and we're actually going to call it Vernon Hills Days now, which actually makes more sense when you stop to think about it. So we're happy to be going to that. It was our summer celebration committee that came up with that idea and said, let's go back to that. That'll be this July 14th to the 17th. And then in August, we're going to sponsor, along with the Park District, they're the main sponsor of the Little Bear Rib Fest. Again, intergovernmental cooperation. We work a lot with our Park District. Next slide, please. Probably the biggest thing we've got going on in town right now, and no surprise to anybody, is the redevelopment of Hawthorne Mall. And Steve, you'll be happy to know, when they were first bringing Hawthorne here, that was when I was still in Mundelein. And I was actually one of the people that thought Mundelein should have taken that. But now that I'm in Vernon Hills, I'm happy it went there. But anyway, it's a huge redevelopment. The Hawthorne Row luxury apartments are expected to begin leasing this fall. The former Carson's is now nearly demolished and making room for some exciting open space. This will be a very pedestrian-friendly and resident-friendly area. The removing the Carson's big box allows for new mixed-use space and a lot of retail and restaurant stuff on the first floor of a lot of the residential area. Dave & Buster's is shifting to the north to make this almost an entertainment destination, if you will, with a giant open plaza. We're working to realign Ring Road and the intersections so we can connect Hawthorne Mall and all the new development there with Melody Farms right across the street. And the board has also heard a lot of multiple concepts lately. The former Denny's is being remodeled. One of the more interesting concepts I've seen, it's a Wild Fork, which is a meat place, meat store, where you can get things like alligator and elk and things like that. And the other half of the building is going to be a health spa. I'm wondering if there's a connection. Once you have to try and maintain your health even though you're eating exotic meat. I don't know. And we've got several new restaurants, including a high-end steakhouse and a casual Asian restaurant called BB Bop coming to town. That was a kind of a funny story. My grandkids are always telling me, hey, I found something you need to try and get in Vernon Hills. And they're always doing that, so we have those conversations, and it could not have been funnier. I got a text from my grandson while he was eating at BB Bop in Schaumburg and said, I've got a restaurant you need to bring to town, and he told me all about it. And I said, okay, we'll look into it. About 5 days later, I got my packet for the next village board meeting, and on committee of the whole was BB Bop. So I immediately texted him and said, hey, you asked me to get it. You got to take credit for those things, even if you're not, really responsible for them. Next slide, please. The mall remodel is going to be spectacular. It's going to support the whole region. The removal of the Sears and the Carsons has made space for a lot of retail in that. roughly 300,000 square feet of obsolete real estate, retail space has been replaced with 80,000 square feet of high visibility and pedestrian-friendly retail space. All of this construction will face the new interior streets and a very beautiful central plaza that you can see in a couple of the pictures up there, including 558 luxury residential units. So this will help drive a very vibrant new 21st century mall. Next slide, please. The ripple effects of that is our permits for building in that are at about a 15-year high. Things are really starting to come back, and we're really, really happy about that. The mall is creating some excitement about exactly that. Next slide, please. Again, some of the new projects we've got going. Over by where the old AMC Theater was, we have the new Everly luxury apartments for 55 and over. We've got the South Lake Industrial Center, which took the Darley Farm property to the south there off Milwaukee Avenue, which is bringing a lot of industry there. Melody Farm is continuing to do extremely well. We have a lot of new retail, including a CM Chicken down in our town center area, the Benny's, the Liquor Barn, Burlington. Other new projects that are coming in are like a Wick and Orr restaurant. It's the Claim Company opening a new restaurant by us. And we're looking at some other things. We're watching for No Manches Mexican Grill. And we've got an urban air adventure park, which will be coming in into the marketplace area. And they're an entertainment center for basically aimed at younger kids to about 15 or 16. That'll include lots of incredible indoor stuff that they can do. Next slide, please. We're also very supportive of our schools, projects that are well, as a retired teacher, I've always been, in favor of the schools and stuff like that. It's one of the things that really makes a community is having good schools. And we're wrapping up a multi-year improvement project with District 73, the elementary district. Hawthorne Elementary South is largely finished. The next thing is the building that I continue to work at as a sub-teacher. But I tell you, this is the greatest job, sub-teaching. It's like being a grandparent. You come in, you get to play with the kids and go home. I mean, it's the best job I've ever had, just no problems, no heavy lifting. We also have Vernon Hills High School, which has finished their large, extensive renovation, added a new gym and a lot of multi-use space. And the schools in this region are outstanding. I don't know if any of you saw Niche put out their list of the best schools in the state. And Stevenson was number 4, Vernon Hills was number 11, and Libertyville was number 24, and Mundelein is also an outstanding school. The kids that come out of the schools in our area move on to colleges, and I've heard back from a number of them that when they went to those colleges, how well prepared they were coming out of the schools that we've got in this area. And that's just so important to a community. Next slide, please. A shout out also to our Vernon Hills Park District, who we work very closely with. They just received a National Gold Medal Award that was for all the incredible work that they've done for our community. They're renovating, in fact, their Lakeview Fitness Center, adding some additional to the pool, exercise and shower space, and also a kind of a unique outdoor exercise plaza that they're putting in there. And like all of us, the Park District has come back to a full schedule. Next slide, please. The Vernon Hills Athletic Complex. We were so fortunate when the government redeveloped all of the old military bases. We got 160 some acres of free land. You can't beat that. And it's the reason that we built Vernon Hills High School down there, because we were able to give the high school 50 acres of free land for their athletic complex, and then expanded on that athletic complex beyond that. We've put in new turf fields there so that soccer and that can play. The turf fields are allowing for significant expansion of play. You don't have to worry so much about rain or snow canceling an event because these turf fields are so easily used, and has allowed them to expand some of those tournaments. Many of these events attract national and international people. For instance, the Pipe City Lacrosse Tournament and College Showcase. That brings in more than 500 teams from across the country. This translates to thousands of people visiting all of our communities and eating in all of our restaurants. We are also very pleased to be able to partner with the Park District and local organizations, including the Bears, now that they've got Bears Fit in our area, and we're working with the NFL Play 60 events. Next slide, please. Speaking of the NFL, Hawthorne Mall again this year will serve as the jump-off place if you're going to the Bears Summer Camp, which we did last year. People will pull up at the mall and board buses to take them to the summer camp. The Bears and the Village of Vernon Hills and Visit Lake County have been working very hard to promote this idea as a way to bring people from all over the Chicago area into our area here. The goal is to share as much information as we can about restaurants in all the communities and hotels and places where people, entertainment venues that people can visit. Next slide, please. In summary, I can't tell you how proud I am to have grown up in this area and see how the communities work together. I was involved for many years with the current players here. I've been involved in athletics here. It's just to see the way the four communities work together, because the phrase that our assistant village manager term for me was, that which is good for one of us is generally good for all of us. And that can't possibly be more true. And I have seen it firsthand for many, many years here. So thank you again for your attention, and like the other two, go take quick. Scott?
Thank you, Thom, and well wishes to Roger from us.